Afternoon, Dwayne here, Dry Creek Wrangler School. Today is I think today's March 2nd. I could be wrong about that. I haven't posted anything in several days. There's a very simple reason for that. I didn't have anything to say. And I don't want to feel like I'm locked in where I've just got to get on and talk just for the sake of talking if I don't have anything on my heart. But something happened this week with the horses that I think might be a good learning point for somebody. And so we'll talk about that. I just got back last night from Texas. Momma and I went to Texas, went down there to visit the kids and the grandbaby, to pick up Will, my youngest son, bring him back up here. He moved back up here. And then I was also going to supposed to do a podcast down there, but I got a real bad cold before we left. You could probably still hear traces of it, but it got so bad with head stuffiness and sneezing and coughing and everything, I had to call and cancel that. But while we were, it took 3 days to go down. Mom and I took it leisure. And so our last day, as we were about an hour out from my daughter's house, we got a text from back up here. And so it was over 80 degrees there in Texas as we came in, but they had a snowstorm come in here. And a young man that works for me here, who I am very fortunate to have working here, Noah, texted and said because of the storm, he had gone up on the mountain, which is about 6 miles away, to check on the horses. And he said Biscuit, he'd been up there watching them, and in the last 20 minutes, Biscuit had laid down about 10 times. And when he was standing, he was striking the ground with his right foot, striking the ground with his left foot, kicking the ground with each of his hind foot off and on. And so he got concerned, so he texted me. And he took a video of it, and he had enough cell service up there. He sent me the video, which it was all very much the right thing to do. So I said, it looks to me like he got a bit of colic. And so I said, catch him and walk him around. In the meantime, I'll call the vet right now. And so now the horses are up there in about 1,000-acre open pasture. And the storm was coming in, the wind was blowing, the temperature was dropping. Biscuit wasn't feeling good, and he wasn't going to be caught. He thought he was going to have to go to work, and he's like, I'm not having it. And I couldn't get a hold of the vet. I left a message, called Noah back, and he said, I can't catch him. And he said he won't let me catch him. I said, all right. He was in his own little pickup truck. I said, run back down to the house, get the ranch truck, already has the trailer hooked to it, get a halter, and get a bag of treats. Biscuit is one of Mama's little children, and he's a very independent soul in all things, but he does love Mama's treats. And I said, go down and get that trailer, come back up, use the treats if you can, and catch him. Put a halter on him, put him in the trailer, and bring him back down off the mountain to the ranch. And so he did. He went, and the storm was hitting, pretty much coming in full force by the time they got him caught, got him in the trailer, and brought him back down to the ranch. I said, turn him out in the little pen out back, make sure he's got good, clean water, and then keep an eye on him, walking, and keep walking him till something happens. And so they brought him down, and they watched him for a bit, and it's like all the distress was gone. He didn't try to lay down. He wasn't striking the ground anymore. And after a little bit, they said there was and Noah, without me saying anything, the pen he was in, Noah went out there and raked it up real quick so there was no horse manure out there. And so they could tell what was going on. They went out, and there was some poop. But before that, they're like, all the stress is gone. and he seems to be fine. And I said, okay, well then don't worry about it, and just keep an eye on him and keep an eye next morning. And he was fine. One of the most dangerous things that you can deal with your horse is colic. Now, a horse's digestive system is not like ours, of course, and it's not like a cow's either, of course. And it can be really fragile. That's why horse hay has to be so much cleaner than what you're going to feed to cattle. You start getting into it and you start shopping for hay, and you'll find out really quick there's a difference. Ranchers, farmers will tell you, no, this is cow hay, this is not horse hay. Horses can't eat as rough of food as cattle can, or goats can, or even mules can. They have a more delicate digestive system. In fact, the most problematic part of a horse's digestive system is their small intestines. It's about 72 feet long, and it's all coiled and twisted up in there. And what happen is a lot of different things can happen. But one of the main things is they'll eat something, and while it's going through that digestive system, it'll get hung up. It'll get plugged. And you have to get that out or they'll die. Now, let's just back up for a second. Colic is a word. It's an all-encompassing word. That means bellyache, okay? So it could be a lot of things that cause it. When they roll, you've seen horses get down and roll after you get done riding. Some horses, they'll have a genetic weakness in there, and that gut will twist like the end of a sausage. And then they can't pass what's in there, and that takes surgery, and they still may not survive. But colic is one of the things you need to be the most aware of. Now, the vet was really tied up, and he finally got a hold of me the next day. And so I said, what I think happened, I was talking to him. I said, what I think happened was he had a gas bubble in there, a gas colic. And I didn't ask the kids. I didn't ask Noah to check the horse trailer if he had pooped in the trailer. I should have done that. But I think what happened was when they got him up and moving up into the trailer, that action had enough, it loosened him up and at least let the gas out. Right now it just hit me. I should have asked him to check the floor of the trailer. I know people whose horses are colic, and they've literally walked them and walked them and walked them, and then walked them and let them up in the trailer, and they've released. If you have horses, you know every time you hose a trailer out, clean the trailer out, lead your horse to put it in the trailer, and the horse will poop 15 yards from the trailer, but as soon as they climb up in the trailer, they'll mess your clean trailer up. So anyhow, it cleared. But there's just 2 or 3 things real quick that I want to give you that might help you if you're a new horse owner or an old horse owner who hasn't run into this before. That might help you when your horse colics. The first thing I'm going to say is you need to know your horses. Okay, you need to know your horse. Now, I have a daughter that she works in a bank. She's a bank teller. Now, I need to ask her if this is still the case or if it was ever the case. I don't know. But I was told years ago, and I'm sure there's people on here in the industry today that will set me straight, but I was told years ago that when you went to work at a bank, the way they taught you to identify counterfeit money was by handling real money. They didn't give you different counterfeit money to handle. You handled real money. And then after a while, you become so familiar with that real money that when a counterfeit comes across, you're like, oh, that's not the same. That doesn't feel right. Okay? Well, you need to learn your horse. Now, horses are individuals, all right? Some are really sociable, and some are really not sociable. Some are melodramatic when it comes to feeling discomfort and they're feeling pain, and they'll show it. And some won't. They won't show it. Like Boone. We have a really hard time knowing. Boone's our old man of the herd, and he's a tough old bird, man. And it's hard to know when he's hurting, when he's And when you see that he's hurting, you know he's really hurting. Okay? Some horses are like that. You need to know this. You need to know, you need to really be familiar with your horses. Why? Because if they start showing something different, you're familiar with them and their personality and their ways and their traits, that you can spot the difference. We lose horses when we buy horses just to have horses, and then they become pasture pets or yard arts, and we don't really know the horses. All right, they're just a big pretty animal out there in the field that makes us feel good to own them, and they start showing some different behavior, and we don't catch it because we don't watch their normal behavior on a regular basis. And this can go for founder. This can go for a lot of different things. You have a very sociable horse that hangs up close to the house, and you come out one day and he's all the way across the pasture out there along another fence line. That should catch your attention. And you should say, old Dobbin's out there on that far fence line, he by himself, just standing there. And don't panic, but after an hour or two, if he hasn't moved, say, I need to go check on him. Okay, and he might be hung up in wire. His feet may be hurting, all right? You got a horse that loves to roll. All right, you know it. This horse loves to roll. All right, maybe they're a Palomino or a white or a gray horse, and you're in a country with a lot of flies and stuff, and so the flies irritate them more than other horses, and so they roll a lot, dust baths, stuff like that. But you got some horses that never roll, and you see those horses out, and they're on the ground, which you never see them on the ground, and they're rolling on the ground, and they're heaving, and they're moving. It should catch your attention. All right, you need to know your horses so that when they start behaving different than they normally do, it ought to catch your attention, okay? Second thing is that you see, like he saw, Biscuit's unusual behavior. For a horse to, in the course of 20 minutes, to lay down and get up 10 different times and stand there striking the ground, that's unusual behavior. And he caught it as he should have, okay? So then he immediately called me. And so the second thing you need to do is you need to verify that your horse is in distress. Now, we have all had a horse that's been laying out in the pasture on its side in the sun, and it starts scared. And so we wake them up. So, are you okay? And they look at us like, what are you bothering me for? And get up and move off. Okay. But if a horse is swinging their nose around at their belly, like something's bothering them at their belly, laying down and getting up, they're trying to get relief from the pain, from the discomfort, kicking the ground and irritation from the pain, all right? So verify that, yes, something's not normal. And if you're still not 100% sure, proceed as though it is an emergency. So the second thing you do after you verify that the horse is in distress, call your vet, all right? Get them on the way. Most of us don't have a vet that lives next door, okay? And you live out here in ranch country, there's a lot of cattle, a lot of horses, or a lot of things, and so a vet's just not always on call. He's not standing by an emergency room. So it's just like an emergency on the side of the road or emergency at your house. There's a car accident and you're going to render assistance, but the first thing you do is call 911 and get them on the way so they have as much time to get there as possible, okay? So that's what we did. We called the vet. If it's colic, the third thing you do is you get them up. They have to be on their feet, okay? Get a halter on them and move them. They have to walk, all right? They have to walk. They have to keep walking. And so you just keep them moving, keep them walking until they poop, all right? That blockage comes out. You see it, bam, there it is. Okay. They rip a big old gas, all right? Okay. And if not, you keep them walking until the vet gets there, okay? Walking is the only thing that's going to save them. Now, a lot of times a vet what he'll do when he gets there is he will put a big rubber tube down their throat into their stomach and put mineral oil or something down in there to try to loosen that. Don't do that yourself. Okay, don't do that yourself unless you are really experienced, taught, trained, extremely confident. Don't do it. I watched a guy kill a horse one time, a really nice mare. I was standing right there. And well, you know how you swallow, your food goes in your mouth and you swallow your food, you breathe in, and you breathe in. And so the same pipe that starts splits off, and one goes to your stomach, one goes to your lungs. Now, it's a very simplistic, crude illustration, but that's what you need to understand. It's the same with your horse, okay? And so for you to accidentally run a rubber tube down into your horse's lungs and dump a bunch of mineral oil in there, that's not a do-it-yourself deal, okay? I don't recommend it, all right? But the best you can do is walk them. You say, how long? How long ever it takes. We had a young man here, came through the school this year, and he was telling he'd had experience before one of his horses, and he walked that horse for 13 hours. They were so far out, the vet couldn't get out, and they walked that horse for 13 hours and didn't save him, okay? But sometimes it does. And if there's anything that's going to save them, that's going to be it, okay? And so do some research, talk to your vet, okay? Your area is going to be unique in feed situations. It's going to be unique to the access that you have to a vet and everything. But these are just some tips to help you with a colicky horse. And I will tell you this, colic with a horse is like a human with pneumonia. Even if they get over it, they're always going to be more susceptible to it. It's going to be easier for them to colic again. So you really got to start being vigilant about their feed situation, and plenty of water and such is going on, okay? Now, Biscuit is actually out on a ride right now. Will's riding him. That incident happened about 4 days ago, and he's fine, all right? He's fine, so he's out being ridden. And so I'm happy to say that it was a good ending, all right? It was a good ending because of the vigilance of the hand that works for me, and so it worked out, okay? And so I just wanted to give you a little bit of a clip, just a little bit of information. We're always gleaning information here, okay? So that's going to be about it. Let me tell you again, let me encourage you over on the Shopify. There's a link on our drycreekwranglers.com. We do have these Wyoming Trader vests with the logo on them. We got this one's wool. We've got the canvas vest. We got these, well, in fact, this is one of the shirts. We've got these denim shirts now. Well, I'm not going to unbutton all up, but they're pearl snap, long sleeve, cowboy Western shirts, and they've got this same logo on them, okay? Coffee cups, ball caps, the lighters, everything. I hate bringing that stuff up, but the people behind me who are keeping me out of trouble say, Dwayne, you've got to tell people about this more often. So there you go. There's that. All right? So anyhow, what do we got going on here? I got a Partagas Black Label. It's a little bit smaller than what I normally do. I'm having a little trouble getting it lit good today. But sitting in here, back, happy to be off the road, back in the tack shed, sitting by the wood stove. And so, wish you guys all the best. Be logical, be reasonable, be safe, be vigilant, and have fun. We'll catch you guys next time.